Hi, today I'm making a summer tomato pie. So a tomato pie is something when you have these wonderful heirloom tomatoes in the summertime, you can make a savory pie that is really delicious. Now I'm beginning with a 9-inch deep dish pie crust. Like you see here, I have about 8 medium-sized heirloom tomatoes that I've sliced, and I'm going to place them on a parchment sheet and actually stick them in the oven a little bit so that I can draw out the moisture of the tomatoes. I've sprinkled them with about a teaspoon of salt and placed them in the oven for on 350 for about 5 minutes. Okay, and it just dries them out a little bit, makes it easier to layer the pie and keeps it from becoming soggy. Next, our ingredients are 2 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, a half a cup of mayonnaise, a half a cup of chopped green onions. I also have 4 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, as well as, and I've divided that because I'm going to use some for the top, fresh basil and fresh oregano to taste. We're going to also add 2/3 cup of red onion, a half a teaspoon or less of Dijon mustard. So we're going to combine all these ingredients, but first we're going to actually add, I actually have dried beans to the pie crust, and I'm going to bake it for about 10 to 15 minutes so that the pie crust will cook, but it will also start to brown, and it will, the beans help the pie crust not to rise or bubble, and it helps to keep the pie crust in the shell flat. You definitely want to remember the parchment paper. We're going to add half a teaspoon of Dijon mustard to our 2 cheese mixture, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, as well as a half a cup of mayo. And we're going to blend that all together. I'm going to mix pepper into taste, so just however much you like. And we're going to mix that and then return to our pie crust. We're going to get that out of the oven. It's been baking, so it'll be pre-baked for about 15 minutes. And set that aside. Next, we're going to take about a teaspoon of oil and just saute the red onions until they're, just slightly limp, and set those aside. I'm chopping up a handful of fresh chives to add to this savory pie. We're going to add about a 1/4 cup of cheese to the bottom of the pie crust and stick it in the oven for about 5 minutes. Again, this is to make sure you don't have a soggy bottom, and it helps to ensure that. And so we're going to go ahead and begin layering our pie. We'll layer with the onions. Next, I'll add the sliced tomatoes from the parchment paper. I'll continue to add the cheese and mayonnaise mixture, onions, and tomatoes until it's all completely gone. I'm topping it with the green onions, and then I'm also adding the fresh chives. And I'm going to bake this pie with the tomatoes on top for about 45 minutes on 375 degrees. When it's done, it'll look like this. Now, if you don't want to show the tomatoes, you can add another layer of cheese, and that will cover the tomatoes, and it'll just look like a cheese pie with an incredible filling. You're going to let that cool and serve, and you will be surprised at what a interesting savory pie you have for this summer.